He dreams of playing in the big leagues, which is taking a toll on your dreams. Most people don't think about their home insurance until something happens. But talking to an American Family Insurance agent today can mean your dreams have better protection tomorrow. Visit amfam.com/home for a quote and see if your insurance measures up. American Family Insurance. Insure carefully. Dream fearlessly.
American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin, 53783.
Is there any Washington running back worth sinking a mid-round pick into? What rookie receiver is flying up Football Guys draft boards? And what AFC North wideout is a sneaky good pick at the back end of your FFPC draft? Plus, Fantasy Football Mastermind's Michael Nazarek chats about his FFPC Pros versus Joe's draft, what he thought of Saquon Barkley's big performance, and much more. We've got a great show for you. Dave Gerzak is here. I'm Eric Balkman. Stick around. Your high-stakes Fantasy Football Hour starts now.
Hey, bro.
Broadcast live and heard around the world, you are now listening to the most entertaining hour of radio on the planet. It's the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by MyFFPC.com with your hosts Eric Balkman and Dave Gerzak. The High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour is your home for football analysis from the best fantasy players in the world. And now, because no one else was available, here are Eric Balkman and Dave Gerzak.
Thank you, Rob, and greetings and salutations to all of you Balkaholics and Gerzak addicts. Welcome to the latest episode of the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour presented by MyFFPC.com. I am, of course, your slightly above average host, Eric Balkman. My co-host is the patron saint of fantasy football. He is the Dizzle, Dave Gerzak. Coming up on tonight's show, how should you react to the injuries to George Kittle, Matt Breida, and Marlon Mack? And the Fantasy Football Mastermind himself, Michael Nazarek, drops some knowledge on us regarding Jordan Reed, Stephon Diggs, Jarvis Landry, and much more. Shout out to the chat room right now. Feel free to post any questions that you might have for us in there. If you want to connect with us on Twitter, I am at Eric Balkman. Dave is at David Gerzak. The show is at HSFF Hour, and Michael Nazarek is at FF Mastermind. You can post on our Facebook page at facebook.com/HSFF Hour, and 347-426-3682 is the phone number. That's 347-GAME-OVA if you want to give us a call. Tell us what's on your mind. We invite that kind of behavior on this show. You can also email the show at the inbox at highstakesfantasyfootball@gmail.com. If you have any questions or comments for us, now's the time to get them in. We'll try to get to all the chat room questions, all of the tweets, all of the emails in the fantasy feedback segment later on in the show. The man behind the glass is our producer and mutual friend, Rob, and of course our audio engineer is Bryce. What a time to be alive, as we are 2 weeks from the Kentucky Fantasy Football State Championship. We are 4 weeks out from the FFPC main event. Is that accurate? 4 weeks?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's closer than that. 3 weeks for the onlines.
Yep.
3 weeks for the onlines. Hey, Dizzle.
Hello.
Dave would be the first to tell you this, but I'm gonna beat him to the punch. The next round of the early main event draft spots for teams paid in full by Monday is this coming Wednesday. So pay for your team in full by Monday Pacific time. Add another team for $300 off the regular price, and you'll get your draft slot sometime on Wednesday. What time? Probably not in the morning, so don't be beating down my door
sometime
Wednesday morning. But sometime on Wednesday, they will be out. Our Football Guys drafts are filling daily at myffpc.com. Dave, do we have any open spots in drafts tonight? I know they've been filling up pretty quick.
Yeah, there's a 11:55 p.m. Eastern one. So
midnight.
Almost an hour and 50 minutes away.
How many spots?
I think there were 10 last I checked.
Right.
The one that just filled that starts in 20 minutes, so forget that one. That one's gone.
Okay. Well, the midnight draft is filling up. Dave, percentage chance that one fills? 80?
Oh, it's about 95.
95. Okay.
Yeah,
fair
highly
enough.
likely, actually.
Room discounts at Planet Hollywood for your trip to Vegas. Check that out at myffpc.com. Of course, $10 week one viewing at a Caesars property, restaurant, lounge, or sports book. Definitely totally worth it as long as that is available. I know seats are running out on that. Best ball drafts, $35 on up from there at myffpc.com. Dynasty startups, what's the status of that? I know we have some going on this weekend. How late are we? When's the cutoff for the Dynasty startups this year? We have some live ones coming up.
Right, for the slow draft, it's going to be around August 18th to the 20th. I'd probably try and hop in just a little bit before then. We have some that are close to filling even. There's a 77 that starts on Tuesday. There's a 250 Superflex that has one spot open, actually, that just came open. Yeah, and then there's a few live ones at the end of August at 77 and 250 levels.
Okay, check that out at myffpc.com. Thank you, Dizzle. Let's get into tonight's guest, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight he has 30 years fantasy experience. He is a longtime member of the Pro Football Writers of America, and other than directing one of the longest-running fantasy football information websites since 1996, his primary claim to fame, he won the SI.com Experts League title for all 4 years of its existence, 2004 through 2007.
He gave up.
They had to fold the league because this guy kept winning it. He's been a contributing author for many fantasy football magazines, including Fantasy Football Pro Forecast, Power Ranking System, Fantasy Football Report, and Fantasy Football Draft Book, as well as a periodic columnist for SI.com's Fantasy Central feature for 5 seasons. The CEO and the president of Fantasy Football Mastermind Incorporated. Check him out at ffmastermind.com or at ffmastermind on Twitter. Please welcome back into the program one of our favorite guests from FF Mastermind. It is Michael Nazarek. Michael, thanks once again for rejoining the show.
Well, it's a pleasure to be on again, and I tell you, after that introduction, I don't know whether I think I've done everything I needed to do, right?
You're in our Hall of Fame, clearly, and I think at first ballot, by the way, no question, unanimous decision. You continue to add to the legend every time you come onto the show, every time you draft in the Pros versus Joes contest, Michael. We're definitely always excited to pick your brain every mid-August. Let's get into your Pros versus Joes team. You actually drafted this squad on July 31st. You drew the 8th slot. And you could have gone with, as far as running backs go, Leonard Fournette was available, Melvin Gordon was available, Dalvin Cook was out there. You actually went with Chiefs running back Kareem Hunt. So tell us what separated Hunt from the rest of those guys for you there.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, there's a top 7 that's pretty solid. So I knew that I had a lot of options, unless one of the top 7 slid to me. And, of course, I'm playing with guys that know what they're doing, so that didn't happen. Like you said, I considered Melvin Gordon. I considered OBJ. I considered DeAndre Hopkins. I prefer to go with a running back first, and probably one of the main reasons why I went with Hunt, because I think that Patrick Mahomes is probably going to struggle a little bit in his first year as a starter there, and that's going to lead to a lot of dump-offs to Hunt. Hunt is a really good pass-catching running back. So is Melvin Gordon, but I've also drafted Melvin Gordon in a couple other leagues, and I just wanted to kind of mix it up here. I also had Hunt on my team in one of the satellites in the FFPC last year that helped me win. Even though I had David Johnson as my first pick, I won that sucker, and it was mostly because of Hunt. And I just like the way he plays. The fact that he may start off slow, but in the second half he just wears defenses down, does most of his damage. Like I said, great pass catching back, and he stays healthy there. Melvin Gordon's always kind of dinged up and such. Of course, it's only one season that we've seen him, but I just wanted to mix it up, and I wanted Hunt on the team.
Kareem Hunt, Dave, you're on board with that pick in the first round?
Yeah, I love Kareem Hunt, man.
Many pundits are not, but I'll tell you,
Some.
after this rousing support for Kareem Hunt that we're getting from Michael Nazarek, it's tough not to be on board with that pick.
Yeah, totally agree. Hey, so Mike, one thing, I'm sorry, is it okay if I've called you Mike over the years. I know you've grown up now, your name is Michael. Can I call you Mike still, or is that not cool?
No, Mike is cool, yes.
Thank you. All right, so on top of Pros versus Joes, I mean, I look at some of these questions here, and we're not really asking you about the fact that you are an accomplished high-stakes player as well. You pay good money every year. You've always been playing in the FFPC main event. You live locally out in Vegas. So, I mean, I don't really know that I have a great question to that. I just want to say that, kudos to you. You're a guy who has a pay site, you're an advice site, but you're not just one of those people who's out there spouting advice and saying stuff. You actually put your money where your mouth is.
What's the point of giving advice if you can't take it yourself? And and hopefully use it to win some money. I admit that it took me quite a while to win something in the FFPC because I've been playing every single year you've had it, but I've been fairly successful over the last 4 years, and I think I've got a good strategy worked out. And as long as you don't hit the big injuries, last year in the main event I got hit by the injury bug, especially Dalvin Cook, and it kind of took me out. But for 3 years in a row there, I was very lucky with no injuries, and the strategy really paid off.
Yeah, you were crushing it for a number of years. So you put me back this year, and if you see Mike Nazarek in your league, say hi, but be a little bit scared.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so back.
You'll learn a few things. You'll learn drafting with Mike.
Take a lesson, kid. All right, so back to the pros versus Joes. Adam Thielen is going off the board before Stephon Diggs, but in pros versus Joes with the 308 pick, you took Diggs. What went into that decision?
Well, I've always liked Diggs, but I also like Adam Thielen. And you know what? I had a talk with my top right-hand man, John Holler, who works for Vikings Update as well as writes for my site. And he's been down at the Vikings camp all along the entire summer. And he said that it's a work in progress, especially against that defense, because they practice against, of course, the Vikings defense in practice. But Cousins seems to be tending towards the big play with Diggs. So I know that you're going to get the dinks and dunks and a lot of catches by Thielen and all. But I thought that we mix it up a little bit, and I just felt that Diggs is probably going to have a little bit better year than Thielen in the system.
Yeah, it's maybe a bit of a higher ceiling, especially like you said, Michael, with the big play potential that Diggs. Not that Adam Thielen doesn't have that potential, but I think you have seen more big plays with Diggs over the years than with Thielen. And the other thing to keep in mind is, and I think a lot of people are doing this, maybe drafting Adam Thielen based on last year's stats, maybe drafting him at his ceiling right now. I think there's a potential for that. I'm not sure if people are doing that with Diggs. He still might represent a value in drafts. Getting back to that pros versus Joes competition, Mike, 8 tight ends were off the board already when you took Jordan Reed at the 508. And we talked about this on the show when we were broadcasting it. There was one team with 2 tight ends already. Did the fact that one team having those 2 tight ends force you into taking Reed or maybe just force you into taking a tight end there? Was that sort of the tipping point for you, or was that a guy that you were on board with regardless of one team having multiple tight ends?
Well, to be honest with you, I was targeting Delaney Walker, and he didn't make it back around to me from 4 to 5. And so the bottom line is I took a look at what was available, and Jordan Reed was sticking out like a sore thumb if he's healthy. And, of course, that's the rub there. But in this type of best ball situation and in this type of, shark league, you have to take risks. And, he's healthy. He's still working to get all in shape and all, but, he's not having any injury issues in camp. They're going to throw to him. Alex Smith loves the tight end, as evidence of what he did with Kelce when he was in Kansas City. As long as Reed can stay healthy, I think he's going to be a big part of the game plan. And now that they've lost their star rookie running back, he's going to be used even more. I like it. I purposely targeted Vernon Davis as a cover my butt pick later. So I think it worked out. Wasn't my A plan, but in a draft like this, you cannot expect to go with your A plan or maybe even your B plan. You got to go C, D, and deeper, and you got to be prepared.
You do have to be prepared. Preparation, Dave, is half the battle. Maybe more than half the battle, I think.
Yes, a lot of things are half the battle. What is that from? That's from the Untouchables.
G.I. Joe.
No, the Untouchables.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm gonna pull that quote up in a minute. Part of the battle is talking about Vernon Davis, which we just talked about.
Right.
And that's what my question's about.
Got it.
I don't know why I'm going to ask you.
You don't want to bring up Vernon Davis?
Well, he just talked about it.
Okay, that's fine.
Talk more about stupid Vernon Davis, who you did the backup.
He's not stupid. I don't understand. I think he is regardless of if you have Jordan Reed or not this year. I say this. I actually just drafted Vernon Davis in a draft late where I don't have Jordan Reed. I think he's just a smart play in general this year. We're talking with Michael Nazarek, FFMastermind.com, CEO, drafter in the Pros vs. Joes, former FFPC main event league champ. I've been telling people on this show how I really like Michael Crabtree this year, Mike, but we shouldn't forget about your 17th round pick in Pros vs. Joes, and that was his real-life teammate, John Brown. Tell us why John Brown's actually a good investment at that point in drafts.
Well, of course, I know who John Brown is, and I've drafted him both when he was playing as a Cardinal when he was healthy, and also last year got burned by him in the main event league there because he just couldn't stay healthy. But when he does stay healthy, he's got fantastic hands, great route running ability. I know he's in a new system there in Baltimore, but they don't have very much beyond Michael Crabtree there, and Brashard Perriman can't seem to keep his hands on the football. Anyway, I think he's got a real nice upside. He's a real playmaker if he can stay healthy, and I think he's going to surprise a lot of people in Baltimore.
So speaking of wide receivers, they're talking about Chris Godwin being the starter over DeSean Jackson in Tampa, moving Jackson more to the slot. So what are you thinking about that? Are you moving? Have you moved Godwin, or maybe you already had Godwin ahead of DeSean Jackson if you didn't like Jackson? Maybe you had him as one of your creepers. But talk to me about Godwin versus Jackson.
Well, obviously Godwin's up and coming. The coaches really like him there, and they say they call him a starter. But DeSean Jackson's going to be on the field a lot. They're going to run a lot of 3 wide receiver sets. But DeSean Jackson's not going to see the targets maybe that Chris Godwin is going to see if he can bruise early in the season. I was probably targeting him around the 15, 17 round area there. I think he went in the 14th round, a little bit earlier. But we've still got 3 more weeks to play, so we'll see what happens in the preseason. There's a lot of things can move up and down. But the bottom line here is that, I'm not really targeting DeSean Jackson in any of the FFPC satellites or even in the main events because you just don't know when he's going to go off. He will go off. So, it's a late-round pick in the best ball format like Pros versus Joes. DeSean Jackson's a lot more valuable than, say, in a main event team.
Totally agree with you there as far as the best ball versus the main event pick. I think that DeSean Jackson is a fine pick in the BB, but not necessarily in the ME. ADP between Godwin and Jackson continues to tighten up. Godwin now going at the end of the 18th round. DeSean Jackson going at the end of the 16th round. Godwin has gone as high as the 1401 in FFPC best ball. So certainly, if people are getting their guys, Dave, as I always like to say, and certainly Godwin is many people's guys this year. Josh Gordon, though, Mike, this is an interesting guy that we should talk about. We don't know when he's going to report. Every time, we watch Hard Knocks or we see the blurbs on the internet about it, it sounds like it's going to be soon. Soon. Well, I don't know what soon means. Neither does anybody else. Apparently, maybe Josh Gordon doesn't even know. But given that we don't know when he's going to report, the fact that Antonio Callaway may be facing maybe just a short suspension, getting popped for having marijuana in his car last Sunday. Okay, that's fine. We don't need to get into that.
Well, why not? We can get into it later. It's fine. Go ahead.
Okay, we'll get into it later. David Njoku is dropping a ton of passes, although he did have that nice touchdown catch last night. Corey Coleman gets traded to Buffalo. Did he really have 2 touchdowns?
Yeah, one from Mayfield and
yes, he did.
One from the starter.
All right, now there you go. All right, David Njoku slamming up FFPC draft boards now.
Yeah,
Corey Coleman.
Like 21 now.
Corey Coleman is a Bill. Is Jarvis Landry? Given what we know about all these guys, we talked about maybe him not seeing the target volume that he did in Miami. We talked about him maybe not seeing that in Cleveland, but maybe he is going to be looking at maybe 90 catches again this year. Your thoughts on Landry?
Yeah, I had him before this past week. I had him around 90 catches, and now I think it really is going to be up over 100. I'm not sure if Josh Gordon is going to come back. I hope he will be because I drafted him in a couple of early drafts, but we're not quite certain on there. And then Mr. Des Bryant is making a free agent visit to the Browns next week. John Dorsey called him out on Twitter, said, "Hey, you won't answer my phone," and Des said, "Yes, Mr. Dorsey, you'll see me next week." So I think that has a lot of factor into it. But the bottom line here is that I think Tyrod Taylor is feeling the comfort with Jarvis Landry, and you guys were watching the Hard Knocks, the premiere last week. This is a guy that's a hard worker. He gave a speech, that's unforgettable on TV there, but it's just an incredible pass catcher. I mean, he made a really nice 32-yard catch last night. I think he's going to see the targets. I think he's going to produce. I'm not sure how many touchdowns he's going to have, but in this PPR format, it makes him a hot commodity.
Bless him, Dave. Bless Jarvis Landry.
Well, you saw on Hard Knocks, you really got to see the professionalism of Jarvis Landry and how much different he is as a player than the whole rest of the wide receiver corps. And you can also tell the rest of his teammates were just wowed watching him play. They're like, whoa, like just some of the catches. So like if your teammates are wowed, and these guys are playing in the NFL, granted it's Brown.
Even the defenders too. They're like, wow, Landry's a player.
Well, man, he's a stud. So it's like everyone loves Landry. He brings such a great energy and a positive winning attitude to the Browns. I think he's such a great addition for them.
And Mike, you brought it up in that speech that he gave the receivers, and you can just tell like everybody was kind of like, Landry wasn't really necessarily talking about any one receiver, but everybody in that room felt like, oh my gosh, he's talking right to me. You know what I mean? And it was just, and that's maybe what's been missing in Cleveland. And Landry just basically said, like, look, this stops now. I did not come here to put up with this. And hopefully his professionalism rubs off on the rest of those receivers, as I think it might. Let's get to a couple emails that came in for you, Mike. First one is from, as I grab it here, it's from Ed in Louisville. He writes, hey, Mastermind, is what we saw of Saquon Barkley tonight or last night what we'll see in the regular season? A 40-yard run and then stuffed at or behind the line of scrimmage 4 times. That is Ed in Louisville, Kentucky. You take the good with the bad in honor of Charlotte Ray's passing this week, of course, from the Facts of Life.
Wisconsin native.
Yeah, exactly. So, Mikey, your thoughts on what you saw from Saquon Barkley tonight?
And this comes from a Giants fan. I am really excited about this kid. There's a guy in Detroit named Barry Sanders that used to have this style of play where he would be stuffed for 6-7 times in a row and then rip off an 80-yarder. When he got the first carry and then nothing opened up and he cut right and then a little tiny crease open and zip, jump cut right through and 39 yards later. I'll take the 1 or 2 yard stuffed runs here or there, and that's going to happen because the Giants do not have a very good offensive line. But still, he's a playmaker. He can break the big one. He's a big threat, and he can catch the football. I'm really excited about Saquon Barkley. And, I definitely, if he had slid to me at the 8th pick in the Pros versus Joes, he would be on my team.
Yeah, for sure. I've been drafting him in the middle part of the first round. No qualms about it. Dave might have some qualms about it, but
No, that's okay. But my question is, with Barkley, the hypity hype, the main events, how many times do you think Barkley gets drafted number 1 overall in any main event drafts? Either one of you. Yes or no?
I will say no.
No.
Mike?
No.
2, what about number 2?
No.
I think yes.
Okay, here's what I'll say about Barkley. As of right now, and Mike,
we'll see.
Mike, you can well, I'll get your thoughts on this in a second. Based on what I've seen so far, I would say no. However, here we go. If he shows something big in preseason week 2 or preseason week 3,
the qualifier.
then I reserve the right to change my mind, because then I could see it, because then you get some crazy
the
stuff.
500 bet is going to be offered once as soon as
I'm not taking it.
For 2, we're going to pick 2?
No, because I don't think he goes at 2 based on what I know right now, based on what I've seen right now.
We're betting right now.
Then I'm not taking it. I'm telling you that right now. No, you can't just.
The bets are made in the moment.
Okay, well, in this moment, I am not taking it. That is, you see, it's you being a bully on the airwaves. To me, this is how I lose. I got 500 every year. Like, Bulky, take the bet. Oh, okay. You got that. No, hold on.
I'm not badgering you.
No. Yeah, okay.
Most of the time you're like badgering me and you still lose them.
People who follow Dave on Twitter at David Herzak,
the interview.
Hang on, Mike. They saw the big orange bat that Dave is wielding and menacingly with me right now. We should go Facebook Live or go on Periscope right now. And he is like, take the bet ball. He wrapped it in barbed wire. There's some sort of red liquid dripping off of it.
It's orange. It's very nice. Though.
Very, very
threatening. It is hard.
Mike, one thing I do want to...
no bet.
No bet. One thing I do want to ask you, and I guess we're sort of bearing the lead, but Darius Geis, we find out this afternoon, he has the torn ACL. He's going to miss the 2018 season. And while it's too bad for Geis, I mean, we really want to see him out there, but from a fantasy lens, we got to look at what the Washington backfield is going to be now for the season and how to handle it for drafts. What are you doing with Samaje Perine, with Rob Kelly, with Chris Thompson? How do you change your evaluation of those players in drafts now that we know Geis is out of the picture for this year?
Well, it's going to be an ugly RBBC mess. Basically, you're going to have Rob Kelly probably get the start in week 1, and then he's going to rotate with Perine, and it really depends on the health of Chris Thompson. I'm kind of worried there. He's not 100% healthy. They've been limiting him in practice. I'm not sure if he's going to see any action in the preseason, but they really need him now more than any, because he's the best back they have right now outside of Geis, and he's gone for the year. So, you talk about doing it on the fly. I mean, we were doing a rankings update right when this news broke, and had to switch gears and bring up Perine and bring up Kelly and stick them right in there the middle with Thompson. And there's just not anyone that's favorable than the others. If Kelly could stay healthy, maybe he might have a little bit more value. So Perrine needs to step it up, and of course Thompson's not completely healthy. I'm probably going to avoid the entire mess.
Outside of Chris Thompson, do you believe either of these guys becomes a pass catcher out of the backfield between Perrine or Kelly, or should we just wash our hands of that right now and just assume that they just will not be catching passes?
Well, Perrine can catch a little bit. Kelly pretty much doesn't. I think he had the single-digit catches last year. So the projection from me is something like under 10 for Rob Kelly and under 20 for Perrine. So, it's not much there. Their value is going to be who's on the field when they hit the goal line and who gets the goal. And Kelly can get in the goal line in a situation and score if gets healthy. But a lot of times he gets those ankle injuries, and then he misses 2 or 3 games, and it's just not worth it. This is coming from somebody that drafted Rob Kelly as the number 3 running back last year in the main event. It was painful.
Yeah, I can imagine that for sure, my friend. I can tell you that in a FFPC best ball draft tonight, Samaje Perrine actually went at the 10:02. It's the earliest I've seen him go thus far. Dave, go ahead.
I'm going to say a few names to you. Adrian Peterson, Alfred Morris, Danny Woodhead.
Yep.
There's some free agents out there that could
Adrian Peterson is probably
could be picked up and signed. And obviously they drafted guys for a reason. It's because the guys that they had stuck. And so I think there's someone out there that they may actually sign.
Yeah, it could be. Well, it remains to be seen on that. But as of right now, I am with Mike. This is a backfield that you probably don't want any part of.
Bishop Sankey.
Bishop.
Oh wait, forget it. Shoot.
How about Orleans Darkwood?
Yeah,
Orleans Darkwood.
He's only 26. He averaged over 4 yards a carry last year. He was actually pretty solid.
Yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't caught on with anybody thus far. Maybe Trent Richardson. We'll see him toting the rock somewhere this year. One more email we're going to squeeze in here, Mike. Stan in Houston, Texas wants to know, with Mark Ingram suspended for the first 4 games of the season, what round is a round you would go after him if he fell to you there? Good luck in the FFPC this season. That is Stan in Houston, Texas. Thank you for the email, Stan. Mark Ingram, kind of forgotten in all this as we're seeing the guys in the field, but we shouldn't forget about Ingram and what he means to the Saints. What's the round that you would be comfortable taking him in right now, Mike?
Well, I should be comfortable because I took him in the Pros versus Joes in round 4. It wasn't comfortable, though, but I kind of had to switch up my my way of thinking there because of the people that I was drafting against. But, you prefer to get him. I've seen him go in round 5 or even 6. I'm not sure if he's going to last that late in FFPC, but, the bottom line is he's going to sit for 4 weeks. But if you have 2 really good backs, you're going to have to go running back heavy. Your third back's going to be your number 2 back for 4 weeks. When Ingram comes back, he's going to be a heck of a flex play, top 10 running back potential there, week 5, and then, of course, he sits in week 6. But 7 on, you get him every week.
Still sitting at the 412 in FFPC best ball right now, and that is where you have to take Mark Ingram, the late 4th, the early 5th round pick, if you want him on your squad. We're talking about Michael Nazarek from FFMastermind.com. Follow him on Twitter at FFMastermind. Of course, a former FFPC main event league champ. Pros, you've had very good success in the Pros versus Joes over the years, Mike. I think not last year, but I want to say in 2015 and 2016. Didn't you finish 3rd overall both years?
What? Third, 6th, something like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it was right up there. It was insane. You've had.
Why aren't you playing all these best ball leagues all the time?
Yeah, you should be. Yeah,
you're missing out, buddy.
You should be playing all the best balls and then doubling your main events, entries and really making hay while the sun shines. But that's another discussion. We know you have to run a fantasy football advice website. And
slow draft. I'm a new app.
Yeah, exactly. I don't envy you on that, but you do a great job there, and we do all know it. What spill the beans a little bit here, Mike? An early round guy that you feel is going to be a bust this year that will probably not be on any of your squads, and then as you get into those mid to late rounds of FFPC drafts, a guy that you're targeting and very hopeful that he has a big season that you're trying to get on a bunch of your teams.
Well, I'm still seeing Rob Gronkowski go in the 1st round, late 1st round, early 2nd round. I'm just not feeling it. He gets injured more than he plays. He is getting older. He will have those big games here and there, but putting your entire team on the back of a tight end that has back issues and arm issues and such. It's just not for me. I rank Zach Ertz higher than Rob, and I'll take him every time.
There you go.
A little bit later in the draft.
A toasty take from the FF Mastermind. I like that. That is very good.
What about the sleeper?
Yeah, do you have a sleeper, Michael? And
Definitely. I'm sorry.
Let the subscribers pay for your top sleeper. Give us one of the minor sleepers for our lowly podcast here.
Well, if you watched the games last night, Mr. Gallup in Texas for Dallas, man, a nice touchdown catch. And that number one wide receiver position is kind of open. Everyone assuming it's going to be Allen Hurns, and it may still be Allen Hurns, but they need a number two there too. And I like the connection that Prescott made. In fact, I believe Gallup got open, and the backup quarterback there underthrew him, so he could have had 2 touchdowns in that game. That's certainly one guy, a nice sleeper to target later in the draft.
Awesome. So Mike, as usual, I'm a paid subscriber to FF Mastermind. I pay a full sticker. Mike doesn't discount. This is a premium product. You don't just get discounts. The Super Bowl package, I believe.
You don't ask for discounts on filet.
I don't ask for discounts. I think it's cheesy. Anyway, whatever. If they're offered, take them. If they're not offered,
I pay full price for my Ferraris, for my crab legs, and for my rollies, and of course for my fantasy football.
For cars, cars are good.
Nah, whatever.
King of cars. So what can subscribers expect to gain from it? Tell us just a little bit about it. Well, tell us, actually, I don't even care. Tell us 10 minutes worth about it. I don't really care. Go ahead.
Well, we've been in business 23 years. I can't believe it. It's been that long, and I quit my day job back in '99 to run the site full time, and it's really been a joy. But the thing I want to get across to everyone is that I view Mastermind as a family. Everyone tries to help everybody win. I get a lot of questions from subscribers. Who do I start and such? But other things. We brought back the forums to the website. Last year we had a big conversion to a mobile website, and we got rid of the forums. And I heard a big uprising about that, so we brought them back. And everyone's come back, and everybody just pitches in and helps, and we all want to help everyone do well. I'm not. I think that I'm not pushy. Maybe I am, but I do make my living from the site, and I guess I'm doing some things right. But I really do believe that ffmastermind.com has everything available for the newbies as well as experienced players to do well in their leagues. I take my job very seriously, and a premium subscriber can email me basically almost any time, and if I'm up, I'm going to answer it. I guess you could say that some may consider me the Alexa of fantasy football in the fact that I might not get everything perfectly right, but I generally have an answer, and that might help move you in the right direction towards winning. How's that?
That's awesome. It's like concierge level service.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
You don't get that everywhere.
I'm going to email you once in a while. I don't take advantage of it.
Don't take advantage.
We do actually offer concierge drafting service for our subscribers. We do actually offer that. I will get on the phone and help somebody draft a team. I will if the time permits.
That's awesome.
That's
really
fantastic.
Cool.
Yes, absolutely. Michael Nazarek, we will see you live at Planet Hollywood. I think you're drafting both Friday night and Saturday afternoon, so we will definitely see you out there for that. We'll follow you on Twitter at FFMastermind. Of course, check out ffmastermind.com. We certainly always appreciate all the time that you give to the podcast every year. And keep up the great work, man. We will talk to you again soon. This was fun.
Listen, I appreciate it, guys. One last thing for your loyal listeners and all. We did this last year, and I want to expand on it. This is the 11th year of the FFPC, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah, you don't say that. Yes, it's the 11th year, and just like in Spinal Tap, FFPC goes to 11.
Oh, great.
There you go. So it's 11 years.
Some people get
and
it.
So the Super Bowl package, premium package, is everything we do on the site. Weekly newsletters, draft guide updates, rankings, drafting software, all that stuff. It's normally $57.95 on the site, but I'm going to offer any new subscriber. You have to be brand new to my website. If you're listening right now and you check out the website and you see what you think, I'm like, well, I don't know, maybe I'm going to pay a little bit. I don't know. I'm not sure I'm going to pay that much or whatever. There's $11 in honor of the 11 years of FFPC, $11 discount. The discount code is FFPC11. That's FFPC11. And when you order the Super Bowl package, you put it in there, and you'll get $11 off, and it'll bring it down actually $1 cheaper than the Pro Bowl package on the site. That's just something a little bit to give back to all your listeners out there and anyone that wants to try our services.
That's
awesome.
Fantastic.
FFPC, we should tweet that out.
Yeah, we will. So check it out, ffmastermind.com. Sign up for the Super Bowl package. Use the discount code FFPC11, and you'll actually get it cheaper than the Pro Bowl package. Only on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour do you get
FF Mastermind goes to 11 too.
FF Mastermind indeed meets FFPC at 11. Michael, it's been a pleasure. Let's talk real soon, man.
Oh, definitely. I can't wait for the draft. You know I'm going to be there. I'm drafting that Friday night, the day after the big game, and, of course, I'll be there for the big game party. I'm really hyped about this. And, of course, I'll be drafting Saturday afternoon in the main event, too, so double the pleasure, twice the fun. I'm really looking forward to it, guys. Thanks for having me.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Michael Nazarek, ladies and gentlemen, from the Fantasy Football Mastermind website, ffmastermind.com, ffmastermind on Twitter. FFPC11 is that Super Bowl package discount code. We got to tweet that out, and we will. Rob, I'm going to put you in charge of that. Let's get into the fantasy flash tonight. There's a lot to get to. What's funny is I normally, Rob and I will meet throughout the week. Virtually meet throughout the week, and we'll kind of assemble the best rundown. We basically scrapped it this afternoon, the enther thing.
You guys go to Costco together?
No. We scrapped the whole thing because of all the action that happened last night.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot to get to. So we totally redid it, and we want to thank Draft Sharks Football Guys, Roto World, and, of course, Rob for helping out with tonight's Fantasy Flash. Leading things off tonight is the sad story. NFL Network's Ian Rappaport reported that Washington's second-round running back, Darius Geis, suffered a torn ACL.
Who?
Darius Geis.
Oh.
Geis. In Thursday's preseason game against New England. Now, earlier it was reported that Geis just had a sprained MCL. We saw the Washington, I think it was the Washington Redskins Twitter posted a video of Geis yucking it up in the locker room saying all is well afterwards. Well, clearly all was not well after the MRI revealed a torn ACL today. So he's going to miss the entire 2018 season, and now it's on Samaje Perine, Chris Thompson, Rob Kelly. I think Michael Nazarek said it best, Dave, yuck, yuck, and yuck. He didn't say that, but that's basically what he meant. I'm staying away now. There's not any of these guys that I'm really excited about.
Chris Thompson, I don't like Chris Thompson as a PPR back. He was always the guy that was going to be the third down back anyway. He might get a little more run as a first and second down back. He's definitely the most talented player on the team if the health is there. And he went to Florida State. You know what, Falky? I'll give you credit. He won the leadership award his senior year.
Fantastic. Listen to me.
I don't know what he majored in.
I can tell you anything. I'll look it up. Listen, Chris Thompson, take a guess at where he's going in FFPC best ball. This is prior to the Geis news.
Geez, man, I haven't really drafted him, so I'm not sure. 14?
701.
Oh, really?
Yeah. To me, that's too rich of a price, even with this injury.
14? That's like the worst guess ever.
Yeah, I mean.
I've been not really.
Oh, excuse me, 703 he was going at. But
thanks, I was much closer.
Has not gone later than the 809. I mean, I don't know, man. I'm not on board with that price.
Yeah, he might move up a round and a half. How much higher can he? I mean, I guess you can go up to like.
Ascendant? Is he the Ascendant 2018?
No.
Yeah,
it's too depressing.
Yeah. So, I mean, listen, we're going to tell you to stay away with the Redskins running game. I mean, if you got to take somebody, it's probably Thompson. I don't even know, like, are either Perine or Kelly Flyers late? I mean, I would find a better way to use my Flyer picks than on those guys.
Hey, you know what's funny is in a draft last night, someone drafted Perine with the 20th round pick, but he forgot to draft the defense.
Oh.
So Perine got cut, and the defense is now on his team.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Draft the full squad next time, fella. I think it's worth drafting late. Perine or Kelly, why not? I heard Kelly lost a little weight.
There.
Now he's like medium fat, Rob Kelly, not totally fat.
Yeah, he did lose some weight. I can tell you that. Did he lose weight throughout last season too? I feel like we were talking about his weight loss last year.
It didn't really help. He's obviously pedestrian. Let's just, we've talked about Washington Redskins run game.
Well, this is a big deal.
Yeah, I know. We spent 10 minutes on it, so I think we've talked it out.
I still can't find what Chris Thompson majored in, unfortunately. I know that everybody's...
Let's talk about good news. Let's talk about the hypest wide receiver coming out as a rookie. DJ Moore, Balky, go ahead.
He was great last night. 6 targets in the game. He caught 4 of them for 75 yards.
Most of HSFFR listeners should have at least have some piece of DJ Moore because you've heard us hyping him up.
I have 2 pieces of him.
That's great.
I acquired them both in the last week. I was pretty happy with it.
Good job.
It was a game-high 75 yards. He did have a 32-yard catch. It was actually on an underthrown deep ball down the sideline where Moore actually had to come back and get it. Shallow cross on 3rd and 9. DJ Moore broke several tackles to set up a fourth quarter 4-yard touchdown run by C.J. Anderson. He mostly played with the second and third teamers, although Cam Newton did throw at him once. He's behind Devin Funchess in the pecking order, maybe behind Torrey Smith. May not last for long. DJ Moore could have a pretty good rookie year.
I think we've been saying that all along. I really think he's that good of a player. He has a 4.0 plus phenom score. It's an incredible score.
Right.
If you haven't watched DJ Moore, go back and look up DJ Moore highlight, a 90-yard touchdown catch. He has this incredible college catch, 90 yards. It's just unbelievable. It's actually similar to that catch from last night, but just an extended version. He's a super talented playmaker. I think he's going to be an all-pro player. I really do.
One of the things that I should mention, there are high-stakes listeners, very talented high-stakes players who have won lots and lots of money, who listen to the show. I know it happens. And I know right now they're saying, stop talking about DJ Moore. We need people to depress DJ Moore's value. We rely on you guys to get these things wrong so we can scoop up the value.
Well, we do that too, but
DJ Moore is fast now. Hey, do you want to talk about the Dynasty offer you got today involving DJ Moore?
Sure. I got offered Devontae Adams for DJ Moore in Dynasty. In one of my favorite leagues, the Beaver Dynasty League.
Okay, do we know, does our audience know who the other team was that offered this to you?
Speed something McGee. Luckily, it's not one of the profane names out there.
No, I meant like the player.
I'm not sure.
You know, like the draft.
Oh, no, he's not a person I would know. I'm not even sure I know who it is.
Perfect.
I mean, like his name or whatever.
So is Adams for Moore?
Yeah.
His Adams for your Moore straight up. Did you accept?
I have not yet accepted. I'm not sure if I'm going to. You and Meyer have both said I should accept.
I think you should. I really do.
I've not declined it.
I will say this, though. If you are a believer in DJ Moore, you believe he's going to be an all-pro player, he does not have the concussion history that Adams does. He obviously is much younger than Adams. If I had the belief in DJ Moore that you do, I might pass.
Well, okay, so Devontae Adams last year, he had, 2016 he had 75 catches for 997 yards and 12 touchdowns, and last year he had 74 catches for 885 and 10 touchdowns. I mean, those are good stats. I mean, great touchdown stats. But I mean, he's averaging 11.9 yards per catch on his career. I mean, he hasn't eclipsed 1,000 yards. Devontae Adams is not going to become a 95 catch for 1,300 yard Julio Jones level type player. And I'm not saying DJ Moore is, but it's not impossible that maybe not Julio Jones level. You know what I'm saying? It's not impossible that he's a 95 catch player for 1,300 yards and 9 to 10 touchdowns a year. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure yet at this point. I'm still thinking about it.
While you were giving that analysis, Marshawn Lynch just busted off a 60-yard touchdown run, and it was a thing of beauty. Getting called back because of holding on their rookie left tackle, Colton Miller. But, man, did he look good. Tell me, look at this, Dave, right here. We got NFL Network. Does Marshawn Lynch look like a 32-year-old running back Marshawn Lynch here? He looks tight and right and thin to win. He looked awesome on that run.
He does.
Yeah.
He looked good.
Yeah.
With a full off season, kind of more his head back in the game now. I can see taking Lynch. Lynch has been he's been going late, and then he's been falling past his ADP.
Yeah.
I've seen that a lot, actually. So I think Lynch is a sweet value late.
Let's move on and talk about another Bay Area team, San Francisco 49ers. George Kittle has announced today that he actually avoided structural damage in his shoulder, which he hurt in last night's preseason opener against the Cowboys. It was a separated shoulder. No tears. As I said, no structural damage. Kyle Shanahan says that Kittle will miss some time, although a firm timetable has not been announced yet. He could be back week 1. I think that's the scuttlebutt right now is that I'm hearing he might miss the rest of the preseason, but he may be back in time for week 1. You're not a big Kittle guy, I don't think. Are you knocking him down now further, knowing that we probably will not see him until week 1?
No, actually, what I was not really super committed on Kittle one way or the other. I didn't really like him or hate him. I like Garoppolo, so I think that it was decent. I think it's his second year, so I think if he falls in drafts due to this, I would be happy to take him at a depressed value.
Dan Jemima chiming in from the chat saying the Niners looked bad last night. No run game. Garoppolo was not accurate at all last night. So that's certainly something to be. And Matt Breida
he got
dinged up too. And he is actually expecting to miss the rest of the preseason. Has a good shot of coming back for week 1, however. So that's another guy to keep an eye on.
It's 1 week of preseason. I don't want to overreact to this week. I'm not saying that we are here, but I mean, for the DJ Moore thing, for everything. I mean, if a player tears his ACL, you can overreact to that, but otherwise.
How can you overreact to a torn ACL?
Oh my God! I'm just saying you can naturally react to it.
Right.
Kind of the joke.
Okay.
Welcome to the humor.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, I'm not doing the radio jokes.
Dirk Ketter, he's the head coach of Tampa Bay.
One of my favorite coaches.
Dirk Ketter is?
Yeah, because he's such a jackass.
Oh, why do you think he's a jackass?
Because he just always talks down. He's been talking down Ronald Jones this whole time, ever since he got drafted.
Well, he did the opposite last night.
I don't know. Let's listen to what he said.
Well, he said that he did very well in his pass protection.
Oh, really? So when he said Ketter graded Jones as, quote, pretty average on the night.
Right, but Dave, when you're praising a guy for something that we thought was going to be a shortcoming of his coming into the pros, I think that's good.
Well, I mean, so that's what I think. I think that Ketter actually thought he did great. So then he said, he's pretty average.
Yeah.
I don't like dreadlocks,
He didn't say that.
Ketter might be a racist, by the way. I'm not sure, but I think that Rojo, even though he didn't have, he had that one nice run for the touchdown. He didn't have great yards per carry. Obviously, it was terrible. I think that he's trending towards a week 1 starter. I've been saying this all along. I still believe it. I think Peyton Barber is just a pedestrian back, and I think Rojo is still a value in the 5th round. I don't think he's going to move up either, because he had a low yard per carry. Best
ball in the FFPC still has an ADP of 505, going as late as the 611. I've actually seen him go in the 6th round quite a bit in a lot of drafts thus far, so I think he still is going to be a value. And then should we talk about Chubb's value? They want to talk about it in the chat room. Oh, yeah, let's talk about that.
So he had 15 carries for negative 10 yards. It was like a Jerome Bettis night.
No, seriously, what were his?
I think it was legitimately 15 carries for 11 yards.
Do you remember who Cleveland played this week? Was it the Giants? Yeah, it was the Giants. Yeah, because it was the meeting of the number 1 pick and the number 2 pick.
Yeah, 15 for 11.
Is that what it was? 15 carries, 11 yards?
Hey, last guy, what's the average of that? What is that, like 0.7, 0.65 or something?
It comes out to be no bueno. No bueno.
What's the YPC on that?
So Nick Chubb, we can talk about him for a little bit as long as the chat room's clamoring for it.
0.73333.
Now, before the Travis Schumachery last night of Nick Chubb, he had an ADP of the 812. It was going as late as the 1209, as early as the 512. I mean, I'm fine with him in the 8th round, I guess, especially if you go 0 RB and you're trying to stockpile a few running backs after that. Even after this, I mean, I'm not going to overreact to something like this, as you just said.
Roto World said that he was getting blown up in the backfield like crazy. He was doing everything you could just get back to the line of scrimmage.
That's not his fault.
Right. If Nick Chubb was playing offensive line as well as running the ball, he might have done better.
Maybe he will have to do that this year.
He's playing with the 2nd and 3rd stringers against evidently better 2nd and 3rd stringers on the Giants.
Speaking of Nick Chubb, you said you watched most of Hard Knocks?
Yeah, most of it. I watched most of it. I tweeted about this because I watched the early version. Apparently, it was at 7 o'clock on Western feed.
Okay.
So they bleeped out all the swearing. So I was mad. I'm like, I couldn't even hear it. And like half the show is the F word. So I was like, it's just annoying. It's just the worst. So apparently I have to watch it late at night so I can get the full R-rated experience.
Yeah. Did you see the airport scene with Nick Chubb right at the beginning?
No, I missed that. I didn't see the beginning.
Yeah, it was a guy who clearly had no idea who Nick Chubb was, and he's kind of looking around and seeing, football players.
Just a fan or whatever, or like
not even like he said something like, and I was commissioning, so I was only half paying attention to the TV. But he said something like, you play football? And he's like, yeah. He's like, where'd you go to school? Georgia. Oh, what position? Running back. And like, if I've been like, it's Nick Chubb, man. Like, you're talking to Nick Chubb. This guy was a Heisman contender before he shredded his knee and had a fantastic 2017 season. It's just driving me nuts. And you can
Matt Waldman, he was falling down on his knees.
Nick Chubb had no desire to engage this guy in conversation. Because they were waiting for their bags at the baggage claim. It's just like, God, this bag cannot get down here fast enough.
What color's your bag, man? Oh, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Last thing I'll mention, Darius Guy's not the only player to tear his ACL yesterday. The rookie receiver was from Indianapolis that was getting a lot of positive feedback. Deion Kane actually tore his ACL. He will miss this season. This is according to a tweet from Albert Breer on Twitter. What do you make of the Colts number 2 receiver? Because Andrew Luck played a quarter last night. He was pretty efficient. I mean,
Luck's been looking good. I've been saying how Luck's been negative on him. He's coming back. He's looking pretty good.
We know T.Y. Hilton's the number 1 receiver there. In your opinion, who's the number 2, and is there any fantasy value there? Is it Chester Rogers? Is it Ryan Grant? Is it Therese Fountain? We know Deion Kane's out of the equation right now.
It sounds like it's Ryan Grant. I mean, they're talking about Therese Fountain. I know he was a hyped-up guy, a little bit of a hyped-up guy late. But it sounds like he is going to be happy to claim a roster spot due to Deion Kane getting hurt. So I think it is Ryan Grant. He's got the experience. And whether or not that amounts to anything,
that's the question.
I really think that they're going to be using those 2 tight ends more, and then use Hilton. So I think actually both tight ends could be effective.
I actually read on RotoWorld today that Eric Swope is having a great training camp.
Yeah, just like every year. Swope is like the ultimate high-stakes teaser.
I guess I don't remember.
How many people in the chat room have drafted Eric Swope before hoping for something? Raise your avatar.
How do you raise an avatar?
I don't know. Just post something in there. Be like, all right, how many of you have drafted Swope in like the 19th to 20th round? If you don't admit it, you're lying.
Waskai wants to know Jack Doyle's value in fantasy drafts right now, Dave, as long as they're talking about the Colts. Jack Doyle currently in FFPC drafts going at the 707. That is in the Kittle range. It's before Njoku, and I think I might actually take Njoku before I take Jack Doyle right now.
Well, yeah, I think Njoku's rising. Jack Doyle, I don't think he really moves anywhere just because Deion Kane got hurt.
Yeah,
big deal.
Yeah, it doesn't move the needle as far as Doyle goes. Let's get into a fantasy feedback here, Dave and Rob. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe we have a sounder for this.
If you've got a question for Eric, Dave, or tonight's guest, send them a tweet at HSFF Hour on Twitter. Email the show at highstakesfantasyfootball@gmail.com. Post it in the chat room during the broadcast. Hashtag your tweet with HSFF or just smack Eric in the head. That's highstakesfantasyfootball@gmail.com or at HSFF Hour on Twitter.
Every chickadee, every little bird in the tall oak tree. The wise old owl, the big...
First email tonight. I'm going to edit it a little bit. You talk about the F word. A couple of them in here.
Oh, by the way, can I give you the High Untouchables quote?
Yeah.
You still want to hear it?
Sure. I'm sure the listeners do.
I forget it. No one wants you.
Okay.
Go ahead. Move on.
What in the name of holy hell is going on in effing Dallas? They effing cut Dez effing Bryant to make Cole Beasley their effing number 1 receiver. What am I effing supposed to do with that for fantasy? That is from Angry Al in Los Angeles. Thank you for the email, Angry Al. I'm a little surprised to see what they're doing. And how about this for reading in between the lines? Similar to the Dolphins, Cole Beasley, maybe being the number 1 in Dallas. Dak Prescott was talking him up on NFL Network a couple of days ago. They're playing him on the outside now, not just in the slot. And Michael Gallup actually looked really good last night, as Michael Nazarek said earlier in the show. Albert Wilson signs this deal with Miami, and he's sort of a man without a role. They're talking about putting him in the backfield just because they've run out of ideas on what to do with Wilson there. I think the Cowboys have sort of run out of ideas on how to creatively use the receivers they have there, and this is their attempt at it. This is their latest attempt to try to inject some life into this passing game. Hey, let's throw Cole Beasley on the outside, see what he can do there. So, and I'm not
this is the Dallas had the stretched out field.
That's right, I forgot about that.
The wider than normal field. No one's ever measured it. It's the wide. So they're sticking Beasley way out there to try and get coverage up there.
Yeah, well, the thing is, like, if you get Beasley in space, he's the type of guy that can make one cut, and then nobody would be in the same zip code as him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, he's so tiny.
He's a shrimp.
You ever try to catch a mouse in a barn? I mean, that's what it'd be like catching Cole Beasley on that stretched out field. It's impossible. You can't do it.
That's true. Good point. That's the CFL.
So you are not of the belief that Beasley will be their number 1?
No, I mean, you know what? Maybe their number 1 is the Webb back, Tavon Austin, who's getting drafted in the 20th round as a running back.
So do you like Tavon Austin there?
I actually, to be honest with you, because he's listed as a running back, I love Tavon Austin. I think he's one of those guys where if you kind of botch the running back position a little bit, especially like in a best ball format, you just grab Austin and be like, screw it, and see what happens. I think he's a good guy to grab there. Even as a protector in a classic or main event type format, I don't think Austin's a bad pick at all. I don't see, and I can't promise this, but I do not see a FFPC changing him to wide receiver. Right now, he's currently listed as a running back on the Cowboys.com site and on the NFL.com site.
Right.
It's actually DallasCowboys.com. Although my fantasy league changed him to a wide receiver because of Roto World.
Listen, don't worry about.
I mean, it's a little silly.
I literally have no comment on that. Like that's.
I love my call, I love my fantasy, but why?
People are going to do what they're going to do.
I'm just saying, this is a huge site. So you take your player position rankings based on what some dipshits at Roto World say.
First of all,
or the team website.
There's no dipshits at Roto World.
There's plenty of them, but the one who's not is Evan Silva. Evan Silva's the best. Rich
Rebar. What about Rich Rebar?
I'm just saying Roto World is obviously great. They're not dipshits. I'm just saying the people in management at Roto World, just because they're making decisions and they're not even following like the NFL or Dallas Cowboys website.
Listen,
I mean, MFL follows that. That's kind of.
I think the takeaway here is everybody's going to do what they're going to do, and that's fine. I have no comment. I have no, insight into, any critique of that. I'm fine with what everybody wants to do. That's cool. I have no problem with it. Now, I will say this. We need to find out a wager for Tavon Austin between you and I this year because you are clearly higher on Tavon Austin than I am right now. And Jemima in the chat room. There are dipshits everywhere.
There are. There's two on the air right now. It's okay.
Yeah, for sure. There's definitely dipshits on this show. Michael Nazarek is the only non-dipshit to appear tonight. Yeah. We've really set a record for the S word tonight, I think. Okay, what did you say you wanted to do with
then you say the S
I know, it makes no sense because I'm a dipshit. Tavon Austin. What do you want to do with him? He finishes as a top blank running back this season.
How about number of catches?
Okay.
What do you think? I mean,
what do you think, Mr. Bullish on Tavon Austin?
Well, so he's being drafted where, the 18th round?
I can tell you right now.
What is that running back, like 60, 50?
Don't make me count that because
I'm just guessing. I'm just saying. What do you think? Like running?
I don't know. He goes as far as FFPC goes right now. He's currently going at the 1902, Dave. He is. Just go ahead and vamp, and I'll count him out.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Well, how about I taking that running back 36? He's definitely going like running back 55 or whatever. I'm like giving you a total like 7-round discount here.
Yeah, you.
36. We're 30. That's like an 8th.
Hold on. I'm counting.
Even you can't deny that one.
32.
Jemima said 32 catches. I'll go over the 32.
Yeah,
catches.
I would too.
Jemima, thanks, buddy. I'll give you $2. $2, Jemima, for that one.
All right, I'll go. So he's got to finish outside the top 36.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of a gift. I mean I don't think anyone in the world's ranking.
I can't do that because it's not fair to you.
Okay, what 40?
I'm still counting how many running backs are going out of him.
But these people are mostly wrong, so I'm mostly right. So
all right, take a guess. How many running backs are going ahead of Tavon Austin? 65. Are going ahead of Tavon Austin right now. I cannot do the 36.
So 40.
I feel weird about that, too.
Weird, the bulky. This isn't touching private parts. We're just making a bet.
Do top 45.
All right, fine.
I got 5 on Tavon Austin finishing outside the top 45 running backs this season.
Well, I got a gift. Top 45. I'll take the top 45. Oh, so nice.
All right.
Outside of Devontae Adams, DJ Moore, I feel more confident about.
All right. I've never argued that vehemently for your side in one of these.
You're very a gentleman and a scholar.
Thank you very much. Hello, Balky and Dave. Knowing that the Dolphins might split Mike Gesicki out wide more and use Albert Wilson in the backfield, that you guys have the belief that Gesicki has top 15 tight end upside this season. Thanks so much. That's Henry in Macon, Georgia.
Because we have another bet here, Balky. You can take Gesicki for the top 15.
I will not.
Damn it.
Thanks for the email, Henry. Does he have the upside? Sure. No. I could see him finishing in the top 15. I do not think he finishes in the top 15 this year.
I agree.
He is a rookie tight end, which say what you will about Evan Ingram and what have you, but that he's the outlier. And I'm not of the opinion that Mike Gesicki is going to have that type of season this year or a top 15 season. I think he's got a good shot at the top 20. I don't even know if he finishes top 20, to be honest with you. So I am not taking that wager. Moving on, or do you have anything else to say about Gesicki?
No, other than I think Albert Wilson's an interesting late-round prospect, a wide receiver.
Talk about that a little bit. I haven't made up my mind about Albert Wilson. I thought I had made it up, and now I'm unsure.
Well, I think the contract, when they offered him the contract, we joked around about how ridiculous it was for such an unproven, unyarded player. He had so few yards, just like Trey Burton. Who else, by the way, got outperformed by Shaheen, but probably, whatever. For that's a different topic. But Wilson, I think, first of all, you know that Devontae Parker is a colossal bust. Hopefully you don't own him in Dynasty based on some of the advice that Balky and I've given you. And then you have Kenny Stills, who's more of a deep threat type guy. He's one of those D-jacks, only drafted in best ball, only, draft this guy when we have to break the mirror to play a best ball format.
I'm not sure I buy that this year.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I kind of agree with you. I like Kenny Stills. Actually, I like Kenny Stills a little bit. I've drafted him, and I do own him in some Dynasty. But I think that Wilson's like trying to be. I mean, if he's a poor man's Landry, that's a really good position to be in. So, and I think Jasicki's actually an argument for taking a player like Wilson because he's so inexperienced, and I don't think he's going to put up the numbers.
And Jemima says, what is Albert Wilson's role versus Danny Amendola? How do those guys, because I think a lot of people would say they're not complementary players, that they represent a certain duplication of skills in that offense.
Well, it's true. Amendola is another player that I think is worth a late round flyer. In fact, if you can get both of them, that's not bad. But Amendola always does get hurt. Wilson's younger, possibly more dynamic player. I think Amendola might have reached his expiration date a little.
Pair both of them in best ball?
You could if you really, but I would rather take Wilson, to be honest with you, even though I've drafted
Okay,
both.
fair enough.
But a lot of these guys will differ with me because they look at Amendola and they see the name and they're like, all right, they feel a little comfy with him.
I'm gonna read this guy's email. This is Cliff in Rockford. I'm gonna read his email in a second. But one of the things I wanted to bring up was something I saw today. Dave, we've been talking about singing the praises of Kerryon Johnson, not necessarily as an ascendant candidate, but a guy who could rise up from his 7th round price tag to maybe the 4th or 5th with a strong preseason. We found out today. I think I don't know if it was the running backs coach or Caldwell or whoever it was from Detroit saying that LeGarrette Blount is actually going to be, or maybe he's a beat reporter, saying that LeGarrette Blount is going to be the goal line back for Detroit this year. And if he's going to be the goal line back, and we're both of the mind that Theo Riddick is going to be the pass-catching back in that offense, I feel like we're looking at Amir Abdullah in 2017, a man without a country. He's in the terminal, as it were. He's not going to be the pass catcher. He's not going to be the goal line. So what is he? And he was a big bust last year. Could that happen to Kerryon Johnson this year now, as we're looking at these roles getting more defined in Detroit?
I'm sorry, say the question one more time. I heard the whole setup, but what was the question?
The question is Kerryon Johnson now losing value? I suppose I didn't actually ask the question, but is he losing value now? Because we were assuming Riddick is going to be the pass catcher, and we know that Blount is going to be the goal line guy. Is Johnson representing a guy that you stay away from in the 7th round?
I don't know that I would, actually. I don't mind him in the 7th round. I know what you're saying. I don't think that that's the case with Riddick necessarily. I know that he's supposed to be the 3rd round back. I just think that they want to use Johnson. They don't draft him in that spot to leave him on the bench for a free agent running back like LeGarrette Blount, a pedestrian back like Amir Abdullah, and a pedestrian back like Theo Riddick. I don't see them doing that. I think that he will emerge in the 2nd and 3rd week, and I think he'll actually be productive as a rookie.
Fair enough.
I think it's worth that gamble. I mean, it is a gamble. I mean, he might not do anything. Having said that, I mean, like, if you're drafting between him, choosing between him and Marshawn Lynch, it can be an interesting choice because Lynch is the starter for the Raiders. So I think I can go on Lynch there.
And he just busted off like a 60-yard run tonight.
Oh, did he really?
Yeah, I talked to you about this earlier.
Well, I know it was 60 yards. I mean, he said it was a nice run.
It was an awesome run. It was a touchdown, and he got called back because of holding. And
I
don't think Gruden was a fan of the holding call. I don't think he agreed.
Did he purse his lips?
No, but he was giving the ref the business on the sideline about it. Next email, Cliff in Rockford, Illinois.
So annoying to have to watch Gruden on the TV.
Hi, LeGarrette and Danny. How are you guys treating Rex Burkhead and Sony Michel in drafts with Michel's knee injury? Are either of these guys targets or avoids for you? Right now, Rex Burkhead, Dave, 702, which, I mean, he's sort of been...
And rising.
And rising. He's gone as high as... Oh, I can't believe this. He's gone as high as a 402.
Yeah, he's getting up there. He's like 5th, 6th round right now.
Sony Michel is dropping. 411 is his ADP. He has gone as late as the 708.
I've seen him going in the 6th and 7th now, as you probably have too.
Right. So you look at those guys. Burkhead, you're paying more for him. Michel, you're getting him at a discount, but there's reasons for that.
Yeah, I'm taking Michel myself because he's cheap.
You would be avoiding Burkhead.
Probably, but having said that, if Burkhead drops, I would probably consider him. But I think because Michelle has really dropped, I know that Burkhead's a trusted player, but I think he's a less talented back. I think that Michelle does emerge after weeks, whatever, 1, 2, 3, 4.
There's Amir Abdullah ripping off a 14-yard run that may or may not be called back. Flags on the play.
Flags. Someone put their helmet down.
Joel in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Is Eric Decker draftable in Football Guys drafts now, or is he just a camp body? Patriots released a depth chart, which, take it for a grain of salt, it was probably not Bill Belichick who put that depth chart together. It was probably Bill Belichick's intern's cousin that probably threw it together, and Belichick signed off on it. You look at Eric Decker being ahead of Kenny Britt on that depth chart already.
That's not impressive.
Well,
because Kenny Britt sucks. He should
that's
be
fine.
He should not even be in the NFL.
But Decker's been there like a few hours, and he's already ahead of Britt.
That's more of an indictment on Britt.
Okay, that's fine. But the Patriots need receivers. They have Tom Brady throwing them to them. You look at Decker at the end of your Football Guys drafts. Is he a guy that you would be scooping up there in a few of them?
Where do they have Decker on the depth chart exactly?
I don't.
Number 3 or 2?
I didn't see it. All I know is that he was listed ahead of Britt.
Well, let me check actually, since I actually have it.
Fine, you do that. But you have obviously Julian Edelman suspended to start the season. Chris Hogan is there. He's going higher and higher in drafts. Rob Gronkowski's at tight end. They cut Malcolm Mitchell. They cut Jordan Matthews. They're cutting all these receivers and not necessarily replacing them.
Still short side. Cordell Patterson's there, mostly as a kick returner. Yeah, I think Decker's worth a look. I mean, why not? But I mean, I wouldn't get super excited about him. Although, you know, I mean, he's a capable wide receiver. If he's in good shape, Brady will find a way to get him the ball. So, you know, maybe I think in the 20th round plus, why not?
Aunt Jemima is saying in a best ball format he is draftable there. This next email is it's a little bit more involved. And it's from one of our longtime listeners and FFPC players, actually drafted in the pros. This is Joe's draft last year. Sean has instructed me not to say his last name because it is almost unpronounceable. We'll call him Sean Z.
Sean Z?
Yes.
Yeah, he's good.
You know
good guy. Yeah. He's Pollock.
So I'm so glad I don't have to go back and edit. So pay attention to this whole email here.
I'm full of shoes so I can make
I understand that. Don't necessarily share that opinion. Pay attention to this whole email, okay?
Is this long?
Kind of.
It's as long as his last name. Go ahead. Whatever.
Hey, guys, here's an interesting fact and related question for you on your podcast. In the last 10 years, every year except one has had at least one pair of receivers from an NFL team that have both finished top 12 in wide receiver total scoring. And half those years, there were two pairs of receivers in the top 12. Of course, not unexpectedly, the quarterbacks for all the duos typically ended up in the top 6 for quarterback scoring. Last year, it was Marvin Jones and Golden Tate, Stafford being the quarterback 6. And then there's some qualifiers here. But the question that he has, who do you think has the best chance this year to fit this criteria of duo receivers in the top 12? And would you consider having both wide receivers on your team? And we'll get to his thoughts on this in a little bit, but let's talk about you, Dave. Is there a duo of receivers, teammates, in the NFL right now that have a good shot at both finishing in the top 12 among receivers this year? Aunt Jemima and Wasp Guy both chiming in with the Juju Smith-Schuster, Antonio Brown tandem.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one that I think is the wisest choice. I actually do agree. And then when you look at where they're getting drafted, that is the one to me. Keep in mind, it's not impossible for Detroit to do it again, although it's probably unlikely to actually have that again. It's tough for me to find another tandem.
Well, here's what Sean said. He said if it's going to happen this year, he lists this is in the order of likelihood. Number 1 is Antonio Brown and Juju Smith-Schuster. Number 2, he has Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs. Then he thinks there's a big drop-off to number 3.
So make sure you mention the quarterbacks again. You know,
well, we'll get to that. Don't worry. This is a long journey. No, we're gonna talk about the quarterbacks in a second.
Okay.
Number 3, Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watkins, and then he has number 4, Golden Tate and Marvin Jones. But he thinks Kenny Golladay takes a step forward and actually takes away from Tate and Jones a little bit.
I have a dark horse.
Okay, go ahead.
What about Murray Cooper and Jordy Nelson?
That could happen, although that is the blackest of dark horses.
The dark horse, well, black, just like the eyeliner. Derek Carr.
Derek Carr, yeah.
So the thing is, if that happens, and you actually have Cooper, Jordy, and Derek Carr like as the 20th quarterback taken, you've got an uber value all over the place.
Don't look at the chat right now. I want you to guess who Tupacker suggested as far as who could be a tandem finishing in the top 12 for receivers.
Oh yeah, so Tyrell Williams, Keenan Allen, and Phillip Rivers. That's not that laughable. Hunter Henry is out.
No,
Antonio Gates is taking a massive dump somewhere right now. He's not on the thing.
The joke is Mike Williams.
Okay, you're wrong. Well, Mike, it is a Williams.
Right.
Because, goodness, Williams is such a popular last name. Tyrell Williams, Keenan Allen, Phillip Rivers, that's not implausible.
Wasp Guy says Denver, or he questions Denver. Demaryius Thomas and Emmanuel Sanders. I think both those guys bounce back. Top 12, I don't know, but maybe.
And top 12 for Tyrell Williams would be a stretch. Definitely not for Mike Williams.
That'd be some Mr. Fantastic stretching going on there for Tyrell Williams to finish in the top 12.
He's a pretty talented. Who likes him a lot is FF Fantasy Football Metrics guy likes him, and he's always been not quite gotten the opportunities that he should.
Right. Sean says he'd definitely consider having the top 12 duo in best ball and single leagues, but he would avoid it in the main event or the football guys, where you have those final weeks in an all-play situation where it could limit your ceiling.
All right, how about an uber incredible sleeper that you couldn't even possibly think of yet?
Well, then you better. I'm not going to guess it.
Josh Gordon, Jarvis Landry, and Baker Mayfield.
Oh, there you go.
Boom! Watch out for that, Balky.
Yep.
Once he passes Tyrod.
Yeah. He also says, instead of the dual receiver, what quarterbacks have a good chance to get in the top 5 and 6 and target for your teams? None of those guys that he lists have quarterbacks currently being drafted in the top 6, within the top 6, and that is Ben Roethlisberger, that is Kirk Cousins, that is Patrick Mahomes, and Matthew Stafford. Wait, he's got to be close to top 6. Stafford has to be. Maybe not. Okay. So which one of those has the best shot at finishing top 6 this year?
I don't know who has the best shot, but the whole point of this exercise is that some of these quarterbacks should be getting drafted higher because they have the potential to be top 6 quarterbacks, in my opinion. Right? Isn't that the whole point?
That is the whole point.
So let's not fart around with who do you think, and let's just actually get to the point.
DJ Moore, Devin Funchess, what about them?
Oh, hell no.
You want to know why?
Because Cam can't hit a person right in the hand.
No.
Just ask Kelvin Benjamin.
No, the reason why is Funchess will never finish in the top 12 when DJ Moore's finishing number 1.
Yeah, when DJ Moore has 112 catches for 1,800 yards and 13 touchdowns, obviously you can't have enough for Funchess.
Anyway, Sean says he enjoys the show, including the Pros versus Joes, which is always good to hear. That is going to do it for our show, ladies and gentlemen, tonight. And I want to thank Michael Nazarek, Dave Gerzak, the FFPC, Rob, Bryce, and, of course, each and every one of you for listening. Next Friday, we have 2 guests planned. I have yet to get final confirmation on our second one, so I'm not going to reveal who that is, but I think you know who it is. But our number 1 guest next week, for our Kentucky preview, I think you can assume who our second guest is going to be.
Right.
But the big one.
This is the big one.
For the first, well, I shouldn't say the first time ever because he's been on the show before. He was on one of the Lost episodes, the Live on I-65 show that didn't work out.
A man of many words.
A man of many words.
Okay, a few words.
The 2017 Kentucky Fantasy Football State Championship overall main event winner, Kurt Awe, is going to be making his quasi-debut on the High Stakes Fantasy Football Hour. That is next week.
I'm very much looking forward to talking
at 10/9 Central. We're going to have him on. That'll be a fun time, and we'll get another guest. Hopefully. A 2-packer. Gotta love Kurt. Him and I are gonna devour a cheesecake in Kentucky to celebrate. Where did this cheesecake come from?
I don't know.
You guys know, but you've been part of this cheesecake conversation.
What?
This cheesecake is a running thing with Kentucky.
I forget.
Oh. Well, it's something for the ride down to Kentucky.
Maybe it's a buffet or something.
I don't know.
What was that lady? The lady who ran
Paula Dean?
Yeah, the Paula Dean racist buffet. They renamed it because after her racist comments, they dumped it.
Yeah, and now it's called The Spread. By the way, guess who wants to come down to Kentucky this year with us?
Bush?
No, but you're kind of close.
Your wife?
Yeah. She's like, oh, maybe I'll come down with you. I'm like,
oh, hell no.
honey, there is literally nothing for. Well, they have a casino. I'm like, you gamble for like 20 minutes and then you get bored.
We'd all, the whole drive down, we'd all be quiet.
Yeah, I was just.
No one talk.
Oh, you know, I'm like, you don't want to sit in there for that. It'd just be a train wreck. But
For all of us.
So I got to get that bee out of her bonnet right now.
Well, she's not allowed, by the way. We voted
Oh, perfect. All right, I'll let her know she's
say no, she's not allowed.
Okay. Thank you. Appreciate it. Always great when your boys got your back.
Amazon has everything for back to school. Zebra lunchbox? Check. Cool Adidas gear like t-shirts, shoes, and backpacks? Check. Triceratops folders and pencils? Check. Laser Cat t-shirts? Check. Get your back to school shopping done now at amazon.com/back-to-school and enjoy free shipping on millions of items. No need to leave your home or hassle with crowds. Amazon.com. No better place to get everything back to school from A to Z.
He dreams of playing in the big leagues, which is taking a toll on your dreams. Most people don't think about their home insurance until something happens. But talking to an American Family Insurance agent today can mean your dreams have better protection tomorrow. Visit amfam.com/home for a quote and see if your insurance measures up. American Family Insurance. Insure carefully. Dream fearlessly.
American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin, 53783.